Is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 good? Well, it's complicated. Let's begin with the first episode where we meet Yuji Itadori and his grandpa. Oh, never mind, he died. This first episode is fine, albeit a little uninteresting, but already we can see some of the cracks in the plot, like those over-the-top reaction jokes which the series abuses so heavily like they aren't even funny. And these dull side characters who are only here so that they can be replaced by way more interesting people. These guys appear in episode 1 and a bit of episode 2 and just never return. I don't know, maybe they'll show up in like the second last chapter. But to the show's credit, I do like the concept of Yuji and Sukuna sharing the same body, even if it's not particularly original. I also like the world building established here and the amount of different curses and sorcery types. Like, if you can think of it, it's probably a curse in this series. And hey, continuing with my compliments, I gotta say the first 7 episodes are pretty damn good. I mean, sure, it's not the most original or the greatest story ever, but it's a fun time, especially the animation, which is ridiculous. I had to rewatch all of Samurai Champloo for the last video, which you should check out, by the way, as well as Monsters. Seeing anime in HD blew my mind. It's so good. I also enjoyed the main characters a lot, but mainly Sukuna and Gojo because they're just a lot of fun. Sukuna in particular is my favorite because he's just such a dick to Yuji. I mean, this guy really can't just relax when he switches with him. He's always gotta do something. Also Gojo because he's hilarious. That one fight between him and Jogo especially, because he could probably kill him in like a second, but he just fucks around the entire time. There's some other smaller stuff as well, like the vibe of this season. I like how chill it is, and the scenes between main characters without the constant loud reminders for you to laugh are a lot of fun. Another thing I like is the first intro and both outros. Not only are the music for all three great, but it's very charming how they add little details as the story progresses to the intro, like seeing Gojo without blindfold or more characters being added to the tree. They may have done this with the second intro as well, but I wanna know, I skip that fucking dog shit every time. So yeah, so far I do enjoy JJK. Great characters, fun story, incredible animation, and while there may be some small nitpicks here and there, overall this has been super solid. So this has got to answer my question, right? Jujutsu Kaisen is not overrated. This is a masterpiece of masterpieces. This is the Citizen Kane of anime. This is incredible, right? Oh. Yeah, after the incredible Gojo episode, the show definitely starts to show its cracks in the aptly named boredom. Now this episode isn't the worst thing ever, introducing Nanami, who's fun, and the greatest character in fiction, Todo. For from here on, the pacing of the show slows down pretty drastically, not only with the development of the exchange event, but also introducing our new character, Junpei Yoshino. This sounds fine, but it's not. Let's start with Junpei's development arc. This is the part where they develop him, and yes, it's another bully story. Doesn't that sound fun to watch this guy get beaten up and humiliated at every corner of his life? I'll explain why this part doesn't work to make Yoshino a good character, but considering that this is to develop, this should build up to a great moment, right? Right? Kinda. I remember Junpei's death being handled much worse, but rewatching it is actually very good. Not only the fight between him and Yuji, as well as their conversation after, but also that feeling when you see Mahito coming down the stairwell, the fight that comes after, as well as the scene of Yuji saying he'll do anything for Sukuna if he helps Yoshino. It just responds, nope. All around it's just great, well except one major issue, the emotion. Okay, I can give fucking shit about this kid. And I'm not trying to be an edgy, cynical asshole, I genuinely didn't care at all. I was so blank-faced while watching it, like, oh that's it, they're just gonna kill him. So why is it like this? It's because they don't do a good job at developing this guy. He feels less like a character and more of a vessel so that the author can spread his anti-bullying message. Which is good, but it really feels like the story is focusing more on meaning rather than good character development. Which, you know, is the point of this section. Not only are the scenes of Junpei not fun, but they're also bad for understanding his character, considering most of it consists of him getting shit on, and not much of his personality. It only starts being a character when he meets Yuji, but by that time, it's too late, he's gotta die. I'd be fine with the bully stuff if it went into making a great character, but the bully stuff is literally the only thing about this character. And yeah, he doesn't only die for you to feel sad, it's here so that the audience starts hating Mahito more and his fucking feet more, as well as so that Yuji can get his little crash out moment, but the impact of it is still lost, all due to external factors rather than the episode itself. But despite that, the fight after Junpei dies is great. So with all that said, the exchange event, this thing that the story's been hyping up for a while, has got to be good, right? Right? It's gotta be good, correct? Dude, this arc fucking sucks. Also, apparently it's called the Kyoto Goodwill Event arc. I'm not calling it that, sorry. Yes, the other and much worse side of my main issues with this episode run, basically all of the exchange event. But, let's remain open-minded and start with the good. Whew, I mean, the good. Yeah, wow, that's a tough one. There's not really that much good here. I like Itadori and Todo. The fight with them is great, and Gojo was cool. And that's it. Alright, let's go over why this doesn't work. Like, the new guys added in being straight up bad, at least during this arc. Everyone from Kyoto except Todo are completely forgettable, and the story doesn't give you any good reason to care about any of these guys. And I know they give them more importance later on, but my issue is that they couldn't be less interesting in their first introduction. Basically, this entire arc is just a wiki summary on the guys, except at least in those it's concise and straight to the point. This shit beats around the bush so hard that I completely forgot everything about half these guys' abilities. Kamo in particular, and yes, I had to search his name up, was so forgettable that I remembered him as being a kind, gentle man. But in reality, my guy shoots fucking blood lasers. He could not be farther from that. The way he handles development is complete garbage. It throws them into boring ass fights so they can explain their boring ass story in a boring way. Even the fights with characters I like Megumi, Maki, or Kugisaki put me to fucking sleep, given that they constantly stop and TDs explain everything about them. Like, at this point, just give me the bully story again. At least I felt bad for the guy. It doesn't help that while this is going on, the A-plot of Yuji and Todo is great. The quality difference between these scenes and everything else is night and day. It's literally the best material in this season right next to the very worst. It's extremely jarring. But at least it ends with a great fight. Are you seeing a pattern? Thankfully the ending is alright, a great Fushiguro fight along with a pretty alright Itadori and Kugisaki fight, albeit it felt a little anticlimactic, but that's more of a nitpick than anything. So since I have nothing to complain about, I'll talk about a couple issues I have with the main three. I quickly gloss over them, but overall I think Yuji and Megumi are both good characters. Yuji grew on me over time as I like seeing him overcome the ridiculous hardships the series throws at him later on, and Megumi was just always interesting. Seeing him finally earn a win after getting his ass kicked the entire season was satisfying. I like his story of overcoming self-doubt and mediocrity. The problem is Kugisaki, mainly just how underused she is by the story. See, from the beginning I liked her and her personality. She nicely bounces off of Itadori and Fushiguro in conversation and is a nice addition. So what's the issue? Well, it's a lack of depth they give her even when she's supposed to be having a deep character moment. Now, a lack of an arc is okay, and it isn't necessary even if she's one of the main three, but what she has instead, this stupid fucking backstory, is just bad. It's weird how much they focus on it despite how mundane it is. I get the point of it because she's always complaining about her hometown, and after thinking about it, she's content with her life. But I feel like it's such a dumb way to do it, especially considering something this slow and this mundane has no reason to be in a story like this. Especially when they interrupt the most important fight in the fast-paced Shibuya Incident with this shit. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about that as well. Despite being one of the main three, Kugisaki dies in season 2 and stays dead for almost the entire story. Like, gay. Fucking hated this bitch. I think the death in particular is the most insulting part of her, because they couldn't just let her die but had to shove in this obnoxiously long flashback that accomplishes absolutely nothing other than putting me to sleep. Yeah, this is where the pacing issue comes in. And that's it for JJK Season 1. If you can't tell, in my opinion, the second half of this season completely paled in comparison to the first. And while there were great moments, the exchange event basically ruined all of it. Thankfully, overall, the season was good. And I would say that this is a solid way to begin this story. I mentioned this very briefly, but even from the beginning, this is just a very well put together plot in terms of world building, and the way they implement exposition naturally was a big plus here. And while I have some problems with them, I can't lie that the characters I did like in the show I really enjoyed, so while it isn't great in many areas, I still had a good time. 6 out of 10, not bad. Let's get to the real shit. Like, never mind. During my low rewatch of the entire series, I began with the worst first, Jujutsu Kaisen 0. My first watch of this was so messed up, I didn't know this was first, so I saw the entire series beforehand. I had no clue who the fuck Geto was, I honestly thought it was this guy. But even after this mistake that potentially ruined the entire movie, I was still excited as I was still on my Shibuya Incident high, as well as the reviews on this movie are insane. I mean, it almost has the exact same ratings as The Social Network, man. The Social Network. I was expecting David Fincher quality while going into this movie, which ended as well as you expect. To give you an idea of how much I enjoyed this, it took me a month to finish this movie. It's not even 2 hours. And yes, I was actually trying to watch it during that entire month, but I genuinely couldn't. It was so bad. If you're wondering why, it's all because of the fucking dog shit that is the first 40 minutes. Almost all of it is just explaining concepts that we already know through shitty fights with characters that we already know through even shittier fights. They reveal the Toge's speaking ability like it's the invention of the wheel. Like, I don't know if you guys know this already, but there's a show out there that actually reveals this exact information. I get that this is a prequel, however, this is barely an excuse to reuse all of this, as people who start with this and continue with the first season will be fed this information again, so I just don't see the point at all. At first, the existence of this movie made no sense to me, especially since the main show came before it, but in reality, this was the best they could do with the source material, considering that the manga it was on was made before the mainline series, meaning there would be a lot of the same information conveyed in both. I still don't like it though. I mean, was there no other way to adapt this other than going through this redundant plot? It doesn't even do a good job of making Yu likable through his plotline. He barely feels like the main character for half the movie because they gotta focus on Panda versus Geto, the Kyoto guys coming back, Gojo fighting this random guy he found. I mean, we got better things to do here, man. I'm sorry. I should probably mention that this movie is actively worse than everything in the show. The humor in particular is rough. It's not even like a straight face thing. Some of the shit in this movie genuinely gives me goosebumps. It's bad, but by far the biggest downgrade above all is going from my boy Yuji to Yuta. I mean, he was not made for a main character role at all. He isn't interesting besides Rika, which they forget about until the end. In fact, he's actually very dull. Like, later him and Maki are best friends. I've always wondered how this even happened considering how fucking dry he is, especially next to everyone else. Like, some of the people in this movie are actually funny, but he's just here blubbering nonsense nervously after his 50th unfunny shocked expression. Literally all he is in the first half is just some nervous guy who doesn't know what the hell is going on. I don't know, man, he's just a normal teenager. Why is he the main guy? Also, why is he a Geto? He's literally the best part of this film, and you want to kill him off? He's certainly more interesting than your ass. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about Geto and the issue with the final fight. The final fight isn't bad, but there's definitely a strong disconnect between how they want me to feel and how I actually feel. Like, I think the story wants me to ruin Okutsu and friends and despise Geto, evident by these come-and-see shots of Yuta and Geto's racist rambling throughout, but it fails in both aspects, mainly because Geto, who is very good. In fact, he's one of the only good parts of this movie. He's a lot of fun, and his dynamic with Gojo in particular is great. But the problem is, again, I think they want you to hate him, but he really hasn't done anything in this movie. Not saying that his genocide against non-sorcerers isn't bad, but in most of the story, they just tell you how evil he is. You know, he killed the entire town of non-sorcerers, but don't show you until season 2. It's the equivalent of hearing that some dictator killed 30 million or something, which without concept means nothing. Mostly because it's a completely impossible number to comprehend. Doesn't help that the stories before and after tries to humanize him and make him more of a sympathetic villain, so his framing against Yuta as this pure evil guy, even though I know and you know he isn't, ultimately makes the final battle just not interesting. Yo, Ether me. The whole thing about knowing the story will humanize him and that he's a sympathetic villain is really dumb because this is only shown to us after this fight, like in the hidden inventory arc, so I don't know why I even mentioned this. Considering who cares if Yuta or Geto wins, turning what could have been a cool fight into just a bunch of flashy colors, you would probably gain the same amount of enjoyment if you had no clue what JJK was and just saw on YouTube. I do like aspects of this movie like Geto and Gojo's relationship as well as the powerful final 10 minutes, but overall, I definitely disliked this and felt like this was a huge step down from the first season. 4 out of 10, Geto deserves more in this movie. Oh, I guess they heard me. Season 2 is split into 2 big arcs, Shibuya Incident and this, so I'll be covering both individually since they have no overlap. Also, this section will be short considering I have very little to criticize in this amazing arc. You heard me right, no strings attached this time, no, well kind of, well sort of. Okay, nothing like that. I love this arc. Oh shit, wait. Okay, I actually do have a big issue, but stay with me, alright? Well, sort of. But I'll start out with the good. The presentation, I don't need to say, but I'll say it anyways, is top notch. I thought season 1 looked good, but this takes the cake, especially in terms of cinematography and the colors. I love how they do all these shots off of reflective things like water, Gojo's glasses. I think someone new at Mappa must have taken over this adaptation, because interesting shooting like this was not in the last season at all. Fights are obviously good, but most of my enjoyment of this section comes from Geto and Gojo, as well as that pesky issue I was talking about, but again, that's for later. For starters, Gojo and Geto's friendship completely convinced me. I love how they actually have a realistic friendship. They don't just suck each other off at every moment, often having these moral arguments, but even during these, you can tell that they have the strongest friendship in the entire series. I also like how they influence each other's beliefs, even when they share opposite opinions on something. You know, in seemingly insignificant scenes like them just playing basketball, something like Gojo mentioning that the powerful shouldn't have to protect the weak likely has a major impact on Geto's psyche during his downfall. And even in their falling out, you can tell there's less hatred from Gojo, more disappointment and confusion. From the beginning to the end, their friendship was always great, and I have no complaints about it. Anyways, you wanna hear that issue I have? No bro, you barely even explained what you liked. Yeah, editor me, I gotta add a little bit more. So yeah, the action is great, the cinematography is great again, but by far the best thing about this arc is Gojo and Geto, separately, cause they're both great. Take notes, dumb fucking JJK0, because this is how you make a good prequel. Change up our notion of the character while still making sense with their context of them. And they do this perfectly. Gojo kinda seems quippy or silly at first during the series, but we can see how much he longs for his high school days, and how empty he is now. Like sure, he's strong, but he's also a complete husk of a person due to how isolating it is being that good. And that he had to kill his own friend, that might also have to do with it. And Geto, oh man, Geto. I mean, my boy is struggling. Look at him. It's really brilliant how they show the deep effect Amane's death had on the two. Gojo sees the loss as an excuse to get better, while Geto is hurt by the situation and wants alike, and attempts to find some ways so that shit like this won't ever happen again to his fellow sorcerers, which cements him into what he becomes in JJK0. Geto in particular is probably the peak of Gege's character writing, and even that's kinda funny because he has a lot of wasted potential, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Also, Toji is a goat, but they hella waste this potential. Speaking of which, the final thing I want to give a nod to is holy shit, Toji versus Gojo is crazy. I mean, this shit is beautiful, man. Them reusing the song from the montage is insane. Anyway, so what's my problem with hidden inventory? Well, this arc is just too short. And this might sound like a compliment, but I'm more referring to how interesting characters who need a lot of time to develop the nuance they require are killed off. I'm talking about Toji and Geto here, who need more time to be fleshed out. Geto in particular really needs more time to develop his ideals, considering that before the last episode of this arc, my guy has no evil bone in his body. So it's jarring going from that to a racist, gen-style maniac, and even if his motivations are there, it doesn't change that I think this arc would be better if it was, say, 7 episodes long, just so they can spend more time on his downfall. It sucks because the final encounter Gojo and Geto have at the end is phenomenal in isolation, but in context it's disappointing how rushed this character is. That's really my only main complaint. Besides that, this arc is great, and a huge step up above anything else the show has thrown at us thus far. It's actually so good I completely forgot I was watching JJK, and when Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi appeared on screen, I was actually surprised, like, oh yeah, I forgot you guys were in this one. Anyways, 8 out of 10, really great arc. And keep in mind, this season hasn't even really started, this is just a flashback. And with that, let's go into the Shibuya Incident. The sheer hype surrounding the Shibuya Incident is crazy, and going into this for the first time, I was very aware of it. Okay, I saw that the season is in the top 50 of all time on Mal. So, is the Shibuya Incident arc good? Well, let's talk about the issues first. The animation this season, while good, has some noticeable flaws, like very messy fight scenes mainly in Thunderclaps Part 2 and Mekamaru's fight against Mahito, as well as where the shot is focused sometimes is just terrible. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at in some of these scenes. But thankfully as the show progressed, I noticed less and less of this until Yuji and Mahito's fight at the end, which I saw no issues with, so overall it wasn't too big of a deal. I do have some story nitpicks like that fat girl subplot at the beginning, which I don't see the point of other than jerking off Itadori more, like my guy hasn't been squeezed. You know what? Let's skip that. My main story issue is with both Mekamaru and Kugisaki's death, starting with Mekamaru. This guy's done literally nothing in this story, so I was glad they at least gave importance to him through his insight with his robot camera thingies. I wish they killed him off after he did all of that, but it's not too awful. My issue mainly comes with his relationship with Miwa and how underdeveloped it is. I mean, these two have, from my knowledge, only ever exchanged a single bit of dialogue before a season. It's a real great scene right here. He says, "Don't let your guard down, Miwa." And she responds, "Mekamaru, above." And that's it. That's the only time. So that means that they're gonna have a lot of time to flesh their relationship out, right? No. I'm sounding like a broken record here, but for the third time, these characters need more screen time. I mean, seriously guys, replace the story of that girl with them and boom. Way better relationship that is much more impactful than before. Sucks too because the fallacy between them is really good, but like Junpei and Gito before, it lacks proper context. And Kugisaki's death, I'll be brief since I already complained about it, but the flashback is awful, uninteresting as all hell, ruins the pacing of this episode way too long, and that's nothing to her character other than revealing that she had friends at one point. But you really needed to know that, huh? And what else? I don't like the shot of the trio walking because they don't gain any depth into the shot, even while running, and the background doesn't move at all despite their change in speed. Alright, this is season ruining stuff right here. Also, this 2-second shot where the blood and Itadori are clearly just PNGs. Alright, this is... I'm not even gonna do the bit. Yeah, unfortunately I'm gonna have to revoke my JJK's overrated card because the Shibuya Incident is great. And it really sucks how good it is because I don't have a lot to say about it since most of this season is just great fights, but I'll try. For starters, the tone shift is phenomenal. The point of the season was to turn this adorable fun shonen into berserk. Okay, I'm over exaggerating, it's more like Attack on Titan, but you get the basic idea. The way they do this is super smooth. The arc starts very light with a couple of dark scenes, but you're pumped watching this. It's gonna be another fun arc, right? Oh. This leads us to the next thing. I think the stakes are great, which I'm not one of those fucking shonen guys who are obsessed with characters dying. But man, the amount of important deaths was crazy. Mekamaru dies, Kugisaki dies, Nanami dies, Todo loses his hand, Gojo gets sealed, Mahito dies. I mean, this season is crazy. And unlike something like an Attack on Titan who kills off a bunch of no-names and expects you to care, every serious injury or death genuinely feels like a complete loss. I guess this is where I appreciate that season 1 laid out the groundwork, but while that stuff didn't make me gravitate to anyone, here the characters are definitely way more interesting, and like I mentioned earlier, even randoms like Mekamaru get a pretty solid conclusion to their story despite adding absolutely nothing beforehand. So I guess I got compliment the exchange of but nothing is better than these insane fights. It starts slow with this fucking awful Lotus fight. The animation quality drops so much for some reason. I can't even tell what the hell is happening, but after the Gojo fight, the season gets really damn good. Which, if you didn't know, is the third fight. Not every fight is a 10 out of 10, but a surprising amount are up there, and even when it feels like something is going nowhere, it just poof, adds something cool. Gojo versus the special grade, Sukuna versus Jogo, Itadori versus Choso, Megumi versus Toji, Sukuna against Megumi's sacrifice monster, and of course Itadori and Todo versus Mahito. All these fights are not only visually insane, but so much was built before these conflicts so that they feel meaningful as well. It's literally everything I wanted and more. But what is that more? The complete reinvention of Yuji Itadori. I liked him in season 1, however he wasn't the most interesting and kinda just filled the role of being the main character who's supposed to be instantly likable and not much else. But his new identity of being the struggler is endearing as hell. I mean, this guy goes through so much bullshit. He wakes up after Sukuna killed thousands of people in Shibuya, walks down the subway, watches Nanami get blown to a billion fucking bits, and after getting his ass kicked by Mahito, the guy who killed now 2 of his friends, he sees Kugisaki, his best friend's face, explode to the same damn guy and then gets his shit kicked in again. That all happened in 20 minutes. It's almost comical how much trauma he goes through in just this arc, especially considering my guy is around 15, 16. When I was that age I was making Roblox videos, but I think this change really makes his character feel more impactful. In the first season his kindness didn't really stand out at all. Almost everyone in that season is nice, so to be matched with the cruelest, most daunting shit this story could throw at you, and him still attempting to keep his morals, except for Mahito, but that shit's deserved as fuck. It's really great. Anyways, yeah, I don't have much to say other than fight good characters. So you know what? If this video couldn't get long enough, here's a long list of perfect elements I didn't mention that I love honestly way more than I should. And yes, I stole this from Epic Rika. Geto's delayed reaction to Amane getting shot in the head. Tojo dying standing up. This shot. This shot. The transition between Gojo's eye and the aftermath of his attack. The way Toji intimidates this guy just by crouching down. Can I say everything about Toji? I wish he had more screen time. The timestamps after important moments in the Shibuya Incident. The way Gojo kills the plant dude, I mean, he fucking kills him. This David Bowie billboard. The music during the scene of Gojo saving people. The intro to the Shibuya arc. I mean, look at those colors, man. Shibuya becoming completely desolate in the intro, mimicking the tree from the first season. I didn't notice this until very recently. Jogo versus Sukuna, I don't think I need to say anything else. Nanami's death. Sorry, Toji appeared on my screen again, I have to give him another entry. The intro music being reused during Yuji's breakdown. The show is mocking him. Todo's speech to Yuji after Kugisaki's death. Sorry for so much Yuji, but the fact that you can see a bit of his teeth peering through his flesh after getting cut up, I wonder if his appearance after this was the reason why they chose him to make a wolf at the end. Speaking of which, the final scene between Itadori and Mahito, this might actually be the best scene in this entire show. And with that, I'm done talking. 8 out of 10, I love this season. So it's just stop talking, alright? Yeah, this outro is like really outdated because I hadn't finished the manga before, but now I have, and yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that in another video. Anyways, yeah, that's all I can offer. 7 out of 10, this show is good right now. And yeah, subscribe, hit the bell, make sure to check out my last video, it's a good video. Yeah, that's it. That's it.